The little brute has just gone down the garbage chute, and she will be.
Moved from Batman back to the newest Tim Burton movie. I wound up cutting 5 pieces for the DVD.
Good morning, Starshine. The Earth says hello.
This is like a one-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It makes you feel like you're a part of a little bit of history.
I'm a gun sure, mostly. But when I heard about these ticket things, I laid off the gun. Switched to candy bars.
Tim is very specific about the kind of casting he wants, kind of characters he wants, how they're going to be presented, how they're going to be played.
When I met him in LA, he said, I'm going to be playing 5 Oompas. I said, that's great. He said, it's going to be done in London. I said, that's even better.
Are you hep to the jive? Can you dig what I'm laying down? I knew that you could. Slide me some skin. So, brother?
I think there was a queue of actors wanting to play Wonka.
Okay, then.
So when we heard that Johnny Depp was wanting to play him, we were very excited. The 3 Musketeers are Dahl, Depp and Burton. You can't beat that.
Know why? Know why? Because this gum is a full 3-course dinner all by itself.
This Wonka certainly is rooted in the book, but Dahl had given guidelines for this character for me, and then you had to really making very broad strokes to making Prum alive.
Wasn't that just magnificent? I was worried it was getting a little dodgy in the middle part, but then that finale, wow!
Mr. Wonka, again a new young actor who I don't think's done very much before, but seems to be coping very well.
Seriously, I cannot understand a single word you're saying.
He's just gorgeous. Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp.
Gives one the feeling of being in love.
You don't say.
He was our first choice. He wanted to do it, so it was an automatic situation.
Oh, poppycock.
He just has that twist, that humour, that wickedness, that naughtiness, that delight that Wonka should have.
I always love working with Johnny because he's an actor that likes to try different things all the time, and that excites me. And each time I work with him, it gets better.
These are everlasting gobstoppers. You can suck on it all year, and it'll never get any smaller. Isn't that neat?
It's a very interesting interpretation that Johnny Depp is giving it. And it's pure, it's somewhat childlike, but it's deep and it's vulnerable.
I always thought a verruca was a type of wart you got on the bottom of your foot.
It's such a great honor to have been chosen to play Willy Wonka.
Watching Johnny, you can't see the wheels going round. You keep saying to yourself, how is he doing that? And I don't know.
Bring in the chocolate.
My initial idea was I kept seeing like a game show host, you know, like a bad game show host in a way.
Bravo! Well done.
And that led me to the idea of like a children's show host. Tim and I got together and we were talking about it, and it's like, really great thing is a local children's show host, a guy who certainly puts on a face every day.
By the way, no other factory in the world.
You already said that.
As a kid, you didn't question it, but then as you got older, you kind of go like, that guy was really weird, you know? So we sort of got into that kind of thinking about those kind of people that stay in your subconscious somehow.
Now, everyone enjoy yourselves, but just don't touch anything, okay?
Oh, Dad! I found it! The last golden ticket! It's mine!
We've been very fortunate cast-wise. We have some extraordinary actors, but no one more extraordinary, in my opinion, than Freddie Highmore, who is a gifted actor way beyond his years.
I worked with Johnny Depp before in Finding Neverland, and I was quite sad when I left the set because I didn't think I'd see him again. But then I'm doing Charlie in the Chocolate Factory again with him now, and that's really amazing. I was really happy when I got the part.
Not only did he look the part, but you could just tell he's an amazing person and got a real gravity to him, a simple but very deep emotional depth. There was just no question about it.
Up and Out, what kind of room is that?
Hold on.
You know, just a really nice kid, and I don't think you can sort of fake that sort of stuff too much.
He never misses a trick. He's never stuck for a word. And he knows the character inside out, and he has enormous sincerity.
I wouldn't give up my family for anything. Not for all the chocolate in the world.
My impression is he's a very modest, very naturally talented boy who seems to get into Charlie's skin so much that we forget whether he's Freddie and whether he's Charlie, you know. I think he's just got this natural way of being Charlie.
Because I'm a winner. I hate chocolate.
Well, it's a good thing you're going to a chocolate factory, you ungrateful little buck.
So I look and I find the golden ticket. Dort haben wir einfach mal ein Casting gemacht, bei einer Agentin. Einfach so. Mal so aus Gag irgendwie. Und da hat er gesehen, dass für mich würde ein Film in Frage kommen. Da musste ich zu mehreren Castings wieder gehen und dann blieb ich halt als letzter übrig.
I was very lucky. I think most of the time when the right one walked in, just sort of knew it.
Die, die, die!
Doesn't seem like they stay kids very long.
Jordan Fry seems to just be able to do it.
The trick to remembering your lines is look over your lines at the beginning of the day, then either review them or don't worry about it.
You know, we all get a little tired at the end of the day, but Jordan kind of gets more energized as the day goes on. His graph is doing that while we're kind of doing that, so we complement each other. It's good.
I don't care who those other four are. That kid, it's gonna be me.
Oh, she'll do anything to win, anything, and it's fun to play a mean person.
Tim told me a story about casting her that she had said, you know, when she walked in the room, Tim, I'm a people person. And he said he knew right away that this is Violet Beauregard.
The karate, it's so much fun. I did 1 month of training. I'm punching all these guys and flipping them and kicking them, but I'm still chewing the gum. It's really fun.
Well, you do seem confident, and confidence is key.
It's incredible to watch her and to watch all the kids sort of playing around, especially the two girls, Julia Winter and Anna Sophia. They go around playing these little games, and then they go and they get on camera, and then they're just so professional and so there.
Let's be friends. Best friends.
I think they chose me for this part because I have the evil spirit inside me.
But I want an Oompa Loompa.
I decided to base her a little bit on my sister. No, not really.
Lovely Julia. She's absolutely great. It's her first movie, and she's taken to it very, very well. I think she's like all of us. She just considers it a great treat to be in it. And Tim has seen something in her that is exactly what he wants and why he thinks she could be such a great, spoiled girl.
Just do one more of that speed, Julia, okay? Good.
Actually, in life, I don't think she's that kind of girl at all, but she's obviously got the ability or the memory or something within her to connect with that character.
They're just an incredibly varied bunch of kids, and they're just great fun to be around and great company, and they keep us all in tune with what this whole project is really about and who it's really for.
Nothing goes better with cabbage than cabbage.
Part of me did think like, oh, I want to be in it, you know, not in a sort of like, but just because you hear so much about it and because being virtually married to the director, you know, I'm living it absolutely in more ways than one.
We should do a rehearsal because I want to make sure that you come in the right time and stuff before the food. Let's do that.
I love the fact that she's defined by being a mother because that's kind of what I've done in the last year. And plus I just wanted to be part of this big adventure.
When David Kelly walked in, I just thought, well, that's it. He's Grandpa Joe, and he's an amazing man.
Exactly.
It's the traditional grandfather-grandson relationship, I suppose.
You and I are going to have one more fling.
To me, David Kelly's performance of Grandpa Joe is just outstanding. It's perfect casting. Perfect casting. But they're all perfectly cast.
I used to work for him, you know.
You did?
I did.
Dear people of the world, I, Willy Wonka, have decided to allow 5 children to visit my factory this year.
The vision of the film has come from Tim Burton. The language of the visuals starts with the language that Tim has come up with. And that's in response to how he and Roald Dahl's vision kind of come together.
Action!
Sounds impossible.
It is impossible.
Sorry. It's descriptive, but then it still allows you to interpret it. I always thought that that was quite interesting. That's something we tried to retain, to just sort of set it in its own city and not really describe where it really is.
The interpretation that Tim and Alex McDowell have given this is beyond anyone's imagination.
Tim made it really clear the way to produce this film and the way to tell this story was practically, with as much real set building as possible.
It's the detail that Tim and the production designers have put into it. It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
When we started the overall design, the very first thing to do was to establish the polar opposites of the environment. One was the town and one's the factory. The factory looms over it, and in a direct line from that, way down the bottom of the hill, is the little crumbling bucket house, which is also a unique structure in the town. All the rest of the town in between the bucket house and the factory is basically identical, generic housing.
It has both an American sensibility and a British sensibility. It's interesting because you don't really know where it takes place. It gives it its kind of fable-like quality.
It was something that really helped us in building the backlot town because we literally cast the houses out of plaster. That translated very nicely into building the miniature because they built them in the same way.
We're giving them all the big wide shots to establish the scale and immensity of the factory. And it gives them reverse angles back down through the town to Charlie Bucket's house.
Evening, Buckets.
Evening.
Hi, Dad.
Our little cottage that we live in is just incredible.
Let's try one.
The end result, I think, it was wonderful, really. I mean, this house is about to fall over. They haven't got any money, they can't afford to do anything with it.
There's not a straight line in it, and the set is quite lethal. I mean, you need to sort of almost extreme sport working on a set because you can easily do an ankle, but we get used to it.
It was very tiny set, 20 foot by 15, very tiny.
Soup's almost ready, darling.
Here's her very mean and meagre kitchen. The whole thing was totally impractical, but it worked.
Good night.
Part of the beauty in the book is the texture and feeling of sort of deprivation and then going to this amazing chocolate factory.
Where are you?
He's Willy Wonka.
Really?
If I asked people, well, what does Willy Wonka look like? They go, well, he's got a purple coat or he wears a top hat. But, you know, it's a bit vague, and I kept wondering myself, like, well, how important is that?
Willy Wonka is the personage fantastic. Is a very strange mentality, the man.
Oh boy, do I.
Willy Wonka's outfit was taken in part from the iconic image from the Roald Dahl books of a frock coat and a top hat, which is something that Tim wanted to keep and Gabriella wanted to keep. So basically an Edwardian dandy type costume with several updates because it's a Tim Burton movie.
Willy Wonka seems to be somewhat vain in the way he dresses, so there was a certain kind of particular quality to him that we wanted to do.
He's a magic personage.
I'm sorry, I was having a flashback.
There are many sets and many costumes, but they all have a distinctive look that Tim and Alex and Gabriella figure out.
I'm closing my chocolate factory forever. I'm sorry.
One of the things that we wanted to do was contrast the exterior factory, the town, black and white color scheme. You remember in The Wizard of Oz when it's like black and white and then you go into color. It's an amazing moment.
The chocolate room is amazing.
The first thing I remember is the chocolate river and the waterfall just thundering the whole time, and it was so thick and gloopy.
Do be careful, my dear children. Don't lose your heads.
Well, the first thing that hit me when I went into the chocolate room was the vastness of it.
We built the chocolate waterfall river set on the James Bond stage. I'm sure visitors that thought, what kind of a James Bond movie is this?
This set is almost all made of foam blocks built up on wooden platforms, but The entire surface is foam. It's as if we were inside a giant ice cream tub where machines can scoop out spherical dish spaces, and there we'd reveal chocolate.
It was so cool, this huge chocolate river and these big candy trees with lollipops on them.
We actually have a confectioner who's making sugar grass. We'll be able to go in close and see the kids pluck it and eat it.
Chocolate room, I got to eat this big mushroom. It was a marshmallow tree, I think. Lots of cream and it all dripped down my face, but it was fun to do, yeah.
Ew.
When Wonka takes them through the Chocolate River ride and through the tunnels, you, as the audience, are going along with the kids, unsure where he's going to stop.
The factory itself is like walking through Wonka's brain. Complicated, strange, fun, disturbing, outrageous, you know.
Without really knowing what the machines were going to look like, we grabbed piles of junk from the aeronautic industry, of old jet engines and things like that. We started picking things out of the piles and assembling the machines to just basically fit the kind of profile of what we wanted them to do. We never really had construction drawings. We only had the vaguest idea of how it would all go together. Really nobody, including my own team, knew what that set was going to look like until about 2 weeks before shooting.
I like this room because it's more high-tech. You just want to know what's in the machines and what's making everything happen.
The nut room feels more like a hospital. It's got this very repetitive plastic finish, sterile colors. Turned out that most of the sets in the factory have fully enclosed the action.
You went into the set and that was the full environment on each of the sets, so that was great, which I loved too because it meant less visitors on the set.
And the other thing about these sets is that they're a pain for all the crews because you always have to wear boots so that you don't damage the floor, and that keeps even more people out of the set, and Tim, I think, likes the fact that he has a lot more privacy. The TV room is actually the first set we really conceptualized that Tim liked, and it was really straight from the book. The thing that this set is great for is showing the scale of the Oompa Loompas, and this little prop that I particularly like is a Wonka Oompa telephone, so that you have both scales.
First off,
Acoustics in there were fantastic. You could stand on one side of the room and whisper to someone, and someone on the far side of the set would say, "Pardon?"
As we had pre-lit the set, basically by putting big lights on top of those cylinders there, and because the walls were white, it was already lit. I had nothing to do.
Bring in the chocolate! When I went to Pinewood and saw the whole of the Pinewood lot covered in Wonka, I knew if Roll had seen that, he would have just said, "This is what I had in my mind."
It's a treat just to walk around it, to behold the scope and the scale of this.
In any film, you try and give an audience a unique world to inhabit. That, in the end, is what matters, I think. I mean, we can have all the fun we want with these challenges and logistic issues and design issues.
The most important thing that we've ever learned. My first reaction is great material for Tim, a natural, and yet I also thought, this is going to be tough, touching into much-loved sacred ground. And that always puts a challenge on something. But I was really glad he was doing it. It just seemed very Tim.
In the book, at the end of each child's demise, there's sort of like a Greek chorus kind of poem. We tried to just take it to a different level and, use Dahl's lyrics, which I felt was important. I think we kind of threw in a lot of different references.
The challenge that Tim gave me was that each song should have a common Oompa Loompa quality to it and some rhythmic or melodic bass that would carry through, yet each one would be in a completely different format or style. The first one is in fact modeled after like a big Bombay percussive piece. It was really fun. It was Gustus Gloop.
Augustus Gloop, the great big reading nincompoop.
I just had never had more fun. Writing the thing, producing the demo, doing all the vocals, like 50 vocals on it. And I send it out to Tim, not knowing what he's going to think. And he's going, yeah, okay, yeah, we're good, that's good.
This is the first song in the movie. He wanted a quick number, quick dance routine, which Augustus Gloop is.
He described this swimming sequence where the Oompa Loompas are going to dive into the chocolate, and it's almost going to be like a Busby Berkeley moment with a synchronized swimming in the chocolate and then back up. And so then I wrote that section and added it in. I was having so much fun.
Although, of course, we must admit.
Originally, I thought all 4 of the songs would be based on the first one. He goes, no. Now,
It puts the senses in the head. It keeps imagination dead.
It clogs and clutters up the mind.
It makes a child so dull and blind. So dull, he can no longer understand.
The second one I did was Mike TV and do something like crazy, like Oompa Loompa rock, and this should be like Queen. It should be like going, you're nuts. All right, what the heck? I'll do it.
In some ways that was the hardest, but that became the most rewarding, I think. Because it ended up, I think we worked out that Deep plays 29 characters.
She'll simply have to wait and see if we can get it back to surf, but if we can. It's also right.
He's gonna hate this. This is crazy. He goes, yeah, that's it.
Veruca Salt, the little brute, has just gone down the garbage chute, and she will meet as she descends a rather different set of friends. A rather different set of friends.
Now for Veruca, it's like psychedelia. It's hippie. It's Mamas and the Papas meets ABBA meets this meets that. So I was going, at this point I was like, great. I was just like, dive right in. And there were sequences I was writing that my wife would come down, and there are some parts where I'd stop and I was laughing. I just couldn't keep doing it, and I'd have to like calm down and do it again. And I go, check this little section out.
Listen close, listen hard. Little violet baby girl. This little girl just sits on the road. Chewing.
And the last one, what's it going to be? I think it has to be 70s Shaft, blaxploitation film. And he goes, yeah, I think that's the way to go. Got my guitar and my wah-wah pedal out, which I hadn't used in ages, and I had to like really get into the wah-wah.
I just loved it because it's got a kind of cool, slightly Temptations feel to it.
Just like a violin.
But then there was this common link between all the songs, which is that they're all sung by a big group. At first, I didn't think we can pull it off, because how do I give the style to this song, this feel? Yet it's all Oompa Loompas singing in group. I'm kind of used to doing like kind of a one-man band type of presentation. So when I started cutting the Oompa Loompa songs, I didn't know what I was doing moment to moment. I was just kind of improvising, but I had a mic there, and I would just grab the mic, and I would sing 8 parts, and I would mix the 8 parts down to 2, then I would lay down 10 parts, and I'd lay the 10 parts down to 2. All right, I got to do 4 tracks of whoa, whoa, and I got to get into that mode. Then I got those, and I got and I got to get like the falsettos, and I'll have to do it 8 times. And at a certain point, you start kind of going crazy, it's like, and I'm recording them really lousy, just as an idea for Tim. And of course, the next thing I know, the song's in production, and like everybody's hearing these vocals. I'm going, wait a minute, I just was doing this temporary just for you to hear. He goes, yeah, that's fine. And it's like, it's on the stage, and it's being played back, and dancers are like working out their choreography.
Dad, I definitely want to keep, and I want to see Dad too, so, okay. Good. Thank you very much.
Danny Elfman's music is so great. It's great for a choreographer. You just see pictures immediately when you hear it.
told Tim, I said, there's a certain point I felt like he was sending me off to like Jason and the Argonauts or something. It's like, and now you will go to the island of Crete and you will find the fleece that no one has been able to get in the cave of the Sibyls and bring it back to me. And I was like, but it can't be done. And ultimately I would do it, and it's like, all right.
Ontario, California, May 2001.
For the first time in history, this is the Taz Attitude.
After months of in-depth DVD segments, this was one of those lightweight, chunk it up with the effects diversions even I enjoyed.
Favorite Warner Brother cartoon character would be Bugs Bunny for sure. Marvin was always my favorite, and then my son grew up watching Taz, loving that. It's funny how it just transcends so many generations.
Hi, get your free Yukos, ice cold right here. You guys want one?
I guess it'll draw like 3 times the crowd. You'll have people out here watching inline, people out here watching bike that are fans, and people watching skateboarding that are fans.
See this guy right here? This is the guy that taught me how to spin. Thanks, man. Seriously.
The Taz Attitude, presented by Warner Brothers, bringing the attitude of Taz and all the Looney Tunes to the world of extreme sports.
You know I live on this broken boat with you, right?
Love when you say stuff like that.
Of course, all good things must end. And being a Jessica Alba fan, this was a good way to go out.
The guy and the girl are crazy about one another. They live down in the Bahamas. They live out this rusted trailer, and they have dreams of, like, you know, maybe opening up a dive shop and making it rich, finding sunken treasure.
Definitely has a heart and has like the things that girls want to watch.
Smoking hot, super cool. A lot of pretty girls on this one.
The whole movie's sexy. I mean, everybody's running around in half to nothing.
But then it's a total kick-ass guy film with like planes and treasure.
Sounds like hundreds of millions.
More.
There's something that belongs to me, Jerry? We're looking for buried treasure. We stumble across cocaine, which we find simultaneously.
Coke and fights and drug dealers.
I'm pushing sharks out of the way.
And guns and car chases.
It's gorgeous. It's sexy.
I like it. I think it's cool.
It has everything.
It works. It's fun to watch.
Find something? Yeah.
There was something about going back onto the water, under the water, working with young people again. I thought this movie had a sort of real drive and originality, and it was sort of a character-driven piece, although it has an action-adventure thriller component. At the end of the day, it's a story about the four people and complexities of life and the moral dilemmas that are posed to them throughout the piece.
Wait, whoa. Come here. Sam, stop! let's just let the defense present its case for a second.
All right.
I don't do drugs.
Uh-huh.
I hate drugs.
Sure.
But throwing this away, I don't know. Maybe I object. Silly, right?
Throw out the question to the audience, how far would you go if you were presented with this kind of an opportunity? What kind of compromises would you make?
What are you doing?
It's going away.
Really? Yeah. Wow, that's intense. That's a new boat, Jared.
So many
same page.
I was attracted to doing Into the Blue purely for the water. I love swimming. I love scuba diving. I love free diving. I've been doing it since I was a kid.
John Stockwell assured me that we're going to be in the Caymans. It was going to be a good time. He's all look at it in terms of a paid vacation. They're going to give me cast approval, and I wanted to work with Scotty Conn again, and it just worked out perfect because he was their favorite for the role of Bryce. Hey, do not be a hero. All right, get back in the car.
Stupid, what are you going to do?
Jessica Alba was the only girl I wanted to work with, so I was like, all right, I got to do this. 4 or 5 months later, instead of the Caymans, we went to the Bahamas. I'm working 6-day weeks. It got all messed up, but it's been a lot of fun. The bottom line is we could spend the rest of our lives waiting for another opportunity like this.
Paul's cute, so I figured, Paul, sharks, the water, why not?
Mr. OG wannabe.
What's up, you scruffy little beach rat?
Okay. When I read this, I just felt like there was so much of me in it. So how long you known this one for? I don't know, about 14 hours now. Longest relationships would be meeting someone in a bar, and it never gets any better than the first week anyway, does it?
You wanna do a little?
Here, hold this.
Making a movie in the Bahamas is fantastic. It's like being on vacation. It's beautiful.
Every day I look forward to going on set and messing with my co-stars and, the set guys. And just, it's a lot of fun. It's not even work.
Hey guys, how's it going?
What are you gonna do about it?
I have a feeling I'm gonna make it all better, babe. She's not a bad person. That's her surroundings, and she has fun, and it was kind of fun for me to do. I told you she wouldn't be into it. She's so clean, she squeaks.
Shut up, you coke whore.
Sam.
Jessica?
I'm here for Paul.
Jessica!
All my actors are very comfortable in their own skin, and I don't mean that just like they can wear board shorts and bikinis, but they're just very comfortable with who they are, and they brought a real individuality and presence to the role.
We bring up some coke, we deal with these morons, and then in a month, we're on the Discovery Channel, up to our knees in treasure, smiling, like this. What's the problem? Better be that simple. Good knowing you.
Paul, is really solid, but he also in this film shows a side of him that I don't think's been seen before. He's a little off in this. He's a little off kilter.
That was a good one.
He's been acting since he was a kid. I've been acting since I was a kid. He grew up in the same area that I grew up. He surfs with guys that I grew up with. It's such a small world, and so I felt like we totally got each other.
See, if you weren't there, I would have gotten it.
Paul just brings what he brings, which is great kind of youth and innocence. And he's still in that place where he's striving, It's like 98% man and 2% still like, I'm not sure what's up here, but I'm gonna try it anyway.
Tell your boys to back off.
It's so easy to work with Paul. I don't even think about it. We just flow. We actually really enjoyed spending time together and doing those scenes, and you can see that.
And action!
Before I was attached to it, the girl was literally tied up, and the guy comes to the rescue. And I was like, you know what? I told John, I was like, I'm really good at action. And, you should maybe write something for me to do. Because I can do it and I love it. I have this thing where I really, really enjoy doing it.
She's really coordinated and super capable. And I think a lot of that probably comes from, her Dark Angel. Man, when she throws kicks and punches, they're very believable. I like watching her do that stuff. She really gets into it.
She is tough. She's a guy. Jessica, as beautiful she is, she just wants to scrap all the time.
Do you want to see what it looks like slow?
Yeah, just real slow.
She is probably the most stunning looking girl And the fact of the matter is she's so perfect for this movie because she's so adventurous, man. She's a risk taker, you know? She's not a fluff girl. She gets out there and she's one of the guys, which is nice to experience.
Any more questions?
You know what, Jared? Winners. Winners make the rules, and losers live by them.
Scott Kahn has a certain style, you know, a kind of wild, out there, you know, sort of try anything, do anything piece.
Pretty interesting. I want to make a dance movie like Saturday Night Fever. Be the next John Travolta, you know. Yeah, I got skills on the dance floor, no?
What I loved was that Paul and Scott had a prior relationship in real life. They were roommates. They're very competitive.
There's some things I have to let him win at in the movie because he's, you know, the superior athlete in the film, you know.
They are constantly, okay, you're gonna do that? All right, well, I'm gonna show you this. You know, trying to one-up each other.
Doesn't matter whether they're on jet skis or trying to see who can hold their breath longer. They always want to outdo each other, and they love each other, but there's a real sort of interesting rivalry between them that I tried to sort of foster in the film.
Come on, bro, we did it. We made our claim. Sulk? It's not over yet. You know, I've worked with Paul before, but with Jessica and Ashley, it's fun to work with new people. Ashley's great, and Jessica's great.
Ashley's unreal. She's a scene stealer, and I don't know what it is. She just has a knack. Like, you know, talk about certain people glowing or having like a, you know, they radiate, you know, when they're on screen. You just can't take your eyes off of them. That's Ashley Scott.
You gonna search me? Here, go ahead.
I love Ashley, and we just totally got along. So we're like having fun, you know, in this, and just vibing off each other and having a good time.
She had been on Jessica's TV show, and they had sort of had an interesting dynamic between them, which again, I tried to sort of incorporate into the film.
Oh, we're not gonna get caught.
You're right, we're not.
No, come on, it's just for us. Just come on, relax.
I am.
We'll save it for a rainy day or a rainy month.
Come on, it was so hard to call her a coke whore. I was like, do we really have to say that?
A lot of the things that I got to do in this film I would have never done in real life, and so it was, you know, that's what acting's about. You get to play dress up.
It's cold.
Don't say that.
I flew down to the Caymans and dove there for like 2 weeks just to get used to it again. But I already knew how to dive. I wasn't like learning anything new.
Before we came out here, Scott Kahn and I learned in a pool in the valley. We went to summer camp. We had like 6 lessons or something. We'd go there with our homework, or I didn't really always have my homework done, but Scotty always did, and he sat next to me, so it worked out great.
I was never really a big scuba diver, and I've done some free diving in the past. I'm doing breath holds now, or I'm going in excess of 100 feet.
I've tried to incorporate as much as possible the free diving because it's one of the most interesting aspects of diving right now. You know, people who really can go down and stay underwater for 2, 3, 4 minutes and get down to, you know, 100, 150 feet.
I got really into the free diving, which is more athletic and more, you know, challenging. It's just going down with no tank. It's just how deep you can go, and like breath holds. And
I can hold my breath forever. So it's pretty cool because John set up these shots for us to like do scuba. Then when they were ready, like do this little action and come back to the scuba. And I would like free dive the whole thing, just hold my breath and come back up.
I love the element. I love being in the water. It's real peaceful. It's a soul sport. It's real similar to surfing in that respect, I think.
It's just another world, and it's so serene, and it's so private, and it's so beautiful.
If anything, other than being in the Bahamas for 3 months and making a movie wasn't good enough, I learned how to scuba dive. I'm certified, and I can go anywhere around the world and do it wherever I want. It's just really, it was a bonus for sure.
You cool?
Don't do that! Come on, don't do that!
Sharks are probably the single greatest reason we came to the Bahamas. When you pull up in a boat, they swarm your boat, you get in the water, and they circle around you, and they're used to humans, but they're not domesticated animals.
To see a silhouette of a 9-foot, 300-pound shark for the first time is so mind-blowing that you're just like raw nerve. So you grab everything you can, anybody you can, to save yourself, and you realize what kind of person you really are.
We're rolling, and you're struggling with the mom, someone's pulling on it, and...
I do it I don't know, just to show off, I guess, bring somebody who was really scared and go, come on, and show them how tough I was around the sharks, but I'm still not comfortable with them. I hate
them. They freak me out.
I had like 20 to 30 shark around me, and they're throwing, you know, chunks of fish in the water to keep them nearby. And, you know, they're coming up and they're hitting that fish head or that chunk of fish, and, you know, they're maybe 1.5 feet away from me at most.
You know, you just kind of have to be aware of your hands and your feet and hope to God that they don't think that they're a fish.
Okay, throw some more fish heads. No, don't. When you're in the element with the mask on and you can see them coming from just about any direction, and you know you can just put your arm out, maybe jab them in the nose and get them to, you know, swim away, it's one thing. But when you're just visiting and your head's out of the water and you can't really tell what's going on, you're just seeing broken, scattered images of shark all around you. And now these sharks, they've been programmed. When something hits the water, it's food.
Whoa, look at that.
You both just told me, Rob?
Yeah, they're back.
All right, I'm ready. Let's jump back in now. And Jessica's character is supposed to throw me my mask and my fins. And she threw me my first fin. It was good. I caught it. It stayed out of the water. She throws me the second fin, and I caught it.
That's how he tastes? Come on.
That one likes my fin a lot. Here we go. The mask she threw, and I went to grab it real quick. It hit the water. I didn't catch it. I pulled my hand back real quick. We never saw that mask again. And it was right in front of me.
You see that one just caressing my foot? I was just hanging out.
That was pretty intense.
What they did, you see, is they went down and caught all these fish and took their teeth out. Mark Walpole. Because otherwise it wouldn't be safe for us thespians.
This is all real. Like, it doesn't look real. Honestly, I have stills that the underwater photographer took of me with like swimming and this humongous shark like right here. And I was like, oh my God.
Stay on Paul's dialogue unless there happens to be really good shark activity, in which case go down for it, okay?
Ready, Peter?
Yeah.
All right, you got a lot of sharks.
Let's go.
There are sharks always lurking over our shoulders while we're filming. After 50 or 60 days of it, I think most of the crew is quite comfortable with it. What is interesting is that when people start to move fast or tense, they immediately speed up and come and investigate. So we sort of now have a pretty good feel for when we're going to expect sharks to get more interested or more quick.
You know, when these guys are down there operating the camera, they've got chainmail suits on, they've got hoods on, and our actors are out there just in bathing suits. So they're exposed to a certain risk.
We really pushed our luck, I think, with the sharks on this one, and I'm glad that we're close to done with it. No one's been bit, and I think that's just short of a miracle, to be honest with you. You talk to any of the guys that work here, they've all been bit by these sharks that we're playing with every day.
I just want people to know it's not CG, that those are real sharks, and I think the film benefits from having the real thing and not a computer-generated image.
Jessica, look a little longer at it, okay? When he drops it, pick it up and just examine it a little bit before you know what it is.
It's impossible to act when you have like this thing and you have all the gear and they're like, okay, you're happy, and you're like, you know, with this thing in your mouth, you're like, they're like, someone's dying, you're like, you know, like, what do you do? How do you act?
I don't really think it's all that challenging when it comes to actually acting. I mean, it's all very physical that we're doing, so it's easy to sell. The hard part is the communication. I mean, that's what's really hindered us.
I've tried directing both underwater and above water. I've been underwater with a handheld monitor and a speaker system, and it's just impossible for the actors to hear me. I end up using all my sign language or a little slate board. I've tried up on the boat and using a microphone comm system. It's very, very hard.
Okay, you can have 2 cameras rolling on this, guys. 2 cameras rolling on this.
I mean, underwater, there's so many challenges here in the Bahamas. You know, it looks warm and wonderful around us, but the water temperature, you know, we're here in January, February, March. It's been about 70, 72 degrees. So you have about 20 minutes in there in a bikini or board shorts before you become hypothermic. And our crew, when they're in the water with them, is wearing 7mm thick wetsuits and hoods and booties. And then you see Jessica in a little bikini. You know something's wrong with this picture. So they are really suffering for their art.
It's definitely been challenging at times, and it requires a lot of patience. More, I think, on the crew's part than for the actors.
There's certainly many days of underwater filming, a lot of ambitious sequences in terms of having set pieces that were at depths that require sometimes decompression for the kind of hours we have to put in.
Go all the way up, guys. Go all the way up to the surface. Go all the way up. We're done.
they're underwater for 20 minutes, they come up, and then they have to have a 30-minute decompression stop. So even though I want to get right back into the scene, I can't because of the physics of what the water and pressure does to your body. So all those things factor in a way they wouldn't on any other film.
I got my sea legs after about a month. I'm cool. I'm cool in the water, but I'm telling you, that first 3 weeks, I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do this.
For the most part, it's just a really fun world to bring people into and a kind of fun journey to go along on.
I think people get a kick out of it. I hope they do. It's just a scenario that to me, it's just so real. I can see it happening. I got everything I need right here.
Some people will see it for the romance. Some people will see it for the action. I think it's the best of both worlds. It's a chick flick, and it's also like a thing that guys can go see and be like, yeah!
I had a pretty good career, and I've done some things I'm very proud of. I hope you enjoyed my reel, maybe learned something from it, took a few words of wisdom away from it. You have a totally different world to adapt to and be part of. And where you think you're going to go and where you're going to wind up may be two completely different things, or it could be exactly what you think you wanted to do when you left. You never know. You just got to go out there and give it a shot. I can't even imagine where you're going to be in 20 years. You see the credits in the film, TV show, there are hundreds of people that work on it. And if that's something you're interested in, you know that there's a spot somewhere in there for you. It just kind of depends on what you want to do. I wish you the best success, good luck in your endeavors, and good connections yourself. Aloha.
Aiana I ka pipistu E me ama o ia For you